was founded upon a rock. And everyone who hears these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. So, what this is basically saying is that Jesus, in this chapter, Jesus is finishing one of his sermons. And Jesus would usually give a parable of some sort during his sermons. And this one he was explaining two men, basically. One obeyed his words and built his house upon a rock. And the rain descended and the floods came and his house stayed put. Yes. The other man didn't listen to what he said, he didn't obey, and built his house on the sand. And when a storm came and the winds blew, his house fell, and great was the fall of it. Amen. The sand and rock, they're both two foundations. They're both two different foundations. Foundation means an underlining base or principle for something, or a starting point. You always have to have a foundation, no matter what it is. But your foundation depends on what you can handle. Right. If you have a strong foundation, things can come your way, but you'll stand put. Right. Yes. But if you're built on sand, if you don't have that stable, strong foundation, you're going to end up falling. Amen. In this scripture, Jesus is kind of representing himself as the house, or not as the house, as the rock. And our spiritual walk is the house. Our house is the spirit. And the sand is kind of considered as the world, the sin of the world, as you can see. You have to start somewhere. Like if you're with the house, he had to start somewhere. You can't build a house without a foundation, because sooner or later, bad weather's going to happen. Over time, things are going to happen to where a house can't stand on its own without that strong foundation. Amen. You can start with or without a foundation. It just depends on how long you want to have a house, really. Good point. All right. In 27, it says, and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. And back in those days, words that we know now meant differently then. And so the Hebrew definition of great means many. So it said great was the fall of it, meaning that wasn't the only time that house fell. It was the first time, but it's not going to be the last time, really. Because back then, great means many. That means the house is just going to keep falling. He can rebuild it and fix whatever he wants, but without that strong foundation, it's going to fall over and over and over and over again. Things that we need for a good foundation is we have to let go of bad habits. Everyone has them. Everyone does. And it's just a thing that people have. But in order to get to that foundation that you're searching for, there's things that you have to let go of, and bad habits was one of those. Letting go of people and friends. Our surroundings affect us.
That's right.
What we're surrounded by helps decide our decisions that we make, how we process thoughts, how we our look on the world. And people and friends influence that look. That's right. And we have to change our surroundings to be able to get to that foundation that we want. We have to let go of fear or pride or anxiety or jealousy. Those things hold us back because those cause doubts, those cause misunderstandings. And that holds us back from the foundation that we want, because there's always that doubt. There's always the questions of what if. Yeah. And we have to let go, most importantly, of our past. Right. Amen. Past, with everyone, we have one. Right. Some people can handle their past better than others, but it's one that we have to let go of, because it brings us back to the anxiety and the fear, because we hold on to our past. But that's one thing we have to let go of in order to get that foundation that we're looking for. Right. Yes, but every time we let go of those, it's another layer of the foundation being laid. Every time we let go of the bad habits or a person or the thoughts or the fear, it slowly lays down another layer, another piece of that foundation. What it takes to have the good foundation in God, our spiritual foundation, is to study the Word, pray the Word, just study it. Surround yourself with Christian friends and pray about them. Surrounding yourself with a good kind of people is going to affect you a whole lot. Surrounding yourself by godly, encouraging people is just going to bring you a step forward in that foundation that you need.
That's right.
And praying about them too. Praying about your friends or your loved ones or people will bring you a step forward too.
Yes.
All right. Getting involved in a good church. There's a difference between going to church and getting involved.
That's right.
That's right.
Going to church and, just going up in the choir, raising your hands when you feel like you need to, that's great. But you're just going to church. You're playing church. There's a difference in playing church and being the church. In the Bible, we're told to be the church, to be a part of the church, be involved of it. Don't just go to choir, worship while you're up there. Don't just raise your hand while you're at the altar. Worship while you're there. Pray for people while you're there.
Yes.
And we have to let go of our own will. Because there's a difference between God's will and our will. Our will is what we decide is good for us. Our will is what we're comfortable with. But God's will is what He has planned for us. And when we step into His will, everything just kind of falls into place around it.
Amen.
We have to have faith and trust in God. That is one thing that's most important when you're setting yourself a foundation with God. Because if you have the constant doubts, it keeps pieces of your foundation away from it. Having a strong, committed, spiritual foundation with God isn't the easiest thing you'll ever do, but it's one of the best things you could ever do. With laying this foundation, there's going to be times of doubts, and there's going to be times of confusion, and there's going to be moments of not wanting to do what God has told us to do. There's going to be times where we just kind of feel stuck. But with all that said, there's going to be times where you wake up with just constant blessings. There's going to be, you'll feel unconditional love and mercy, and you'll get a deeper understanding of God and His relationship. You'll get to see God at a different standing point than you did.
Good Lord.
One thing that we have to stick with is in time, once we start getting a strong foundation, you'll begin to see change in yourself and your surroundings. You'll get to see a difference in the way that you make decisions, the friends that you choose to stick close to, the things that you watch and the music that you listen to. They'll start to change the stronger your foundation gets laid.
That's good.
And Psalms 62 says, "Truly my soul waiteth upon God. From Him cometh my salvation. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense, and I shall not be greatly moved. My soul wait thou only upon Him, for my expectation is from Him. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be moved. And God is my salvation and glory, the rock of my strength and my refuge. He is in God." Storms are going to come. They're a part of life. It's a part of living and walking with God. God never promised that we wouldn't deal with things, that we wouldn't have pressures, that we wouldn't have temptations. But walking with Him is causing that foundation to be laid without doubt or second guessing Him. When storms come our way, we'll be able to stand strong and not be able to move because we're built upon that rock.
Amen.
Thank you. I'm done.